Alright, so we're over at Goji Center, and I've been wanting to watch this video. Which dinosaur had the worst death in Jurassic? And I honestly cannot remember them all. But I just know the most annoying one to me was when the JP3, when the Spinosaurus just instantly killed the T-Rex without any issues, just cracked his neck and boom, that was it. That was just so disappointing to me. That wasn't at all the worst death. It was just quick, done, boom. But anyways, please go check out Goji Center, help them get to 1.6 million subscribers, and let's just get straight to it.
Today on Goji Center, we will travel back to the islands of Jurassic to rank the worst animal-on-animal violence and determine which non-human creature suffered the most brutal exit in the saga. Broken ribs, bites, dislocated necks, ripped limbs, stabs. We got everything on this list. Subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of our brutal recaps and analysis, dinosaur fights, hybrid breakdowns, and more. Alright, so to begin, we will be ranking our dino kills using a simple evaluation scoring method. If you remember last time in our previous episode covering the human unalivements in the franchise, we used a similar scoring method. Today, we'll use 3 points of criteria. Number 1, gore. That is the amount of messed up violence and spectacle
the
seen
amount of
on
guts
camera
flying
or
everywhere.
implied to have happened off screen. 2, pain meter. Pretty self-explanatory, but really measuring the amount of pain these poor creatures suffered as compared to the rest of the animals on the list.
Also, I just want to make a note. Sorry I'm pausing, but this is totally not like anything to do with this, but on one of my previous videos, someone said like, please pause or whatever when you're talking, don't talk over video. But I don't think they realize that if I talk or pause every single time I want to talk, I'm going to pause so often that the videos can become super long. The video is going to just become so boring and just, yeah, it's just not going to be fun. But anyways, let's continue.
And 3, dino brutality. Really measuring how brutal said kill appeared on camera, or how horrible the death was implied to have taken place. The final score of these 3 evaluation methods will be used to rank these kills as we proceed in the video. Alright, without further ado, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Jurassic World Dominion. Despite the mixed sentiment the audience had for this film, there were a few elements that are worth noting. One of the creatures seen in an extended cut of Dominion, the Oviraptor, was one of the poor captive dinosaurs forced to fight in the underground catacombs
I think
of
I've watched
Malta.
this. I can't remember. I don't think I've watched all of them, but I'm pretty sure I watched this.
Therapsid, not technically a
Those are
dinosaur,
babies.
that carried a pretty deadly pair of chompers who also contributed
actually, no,
to the death
those
of
things are quite
Delacorte
small.
later in the movie.
That's a baby though. The Carnotaurus is a baby.
Pair of chompers who also contributed to the death of
You
Delacorte later.
don't know. This guy could be a baby version. I don't know. This is a baby though. Carnotaurus. This guy, I don't know.
In the movie.
No idea. I don't even remember how big they get.
What
the heck is that goofy little bastard?
To be messed with.
Got a camel hump on his head.
Against each other, the Lystrosaurus went straight to the neck of the dinosaur, and with one swift bite, ended the Oviraptor before the surrounding audience got comfortable. This would be the first time we saw a
instantly decapitated
in a
it.
Jurassic movie,
It's the
and
headless chicken.
fortunately for the Oviraptor, it's likely that it didn't suffer
No
all
blood
that much,
though. We didn't see any
since
blood.
cutting the head off quickly in this fashion shuts the body down relatively fast.
Yeah, but there will still be
however,
blood flow.
Is still a gnarly spectacle. Seeing the body of this animal is still moving, literally running around like a headless chicken. This gives a pretty high gore score of 9, pain score of 1, and dino brutality score of 8. We'll see if this...
On the gore scale though, we didn't see blood. We just, I mean, sure, decapitation, but I didn't see any blood. I mean, that could have just been the PG-rated movie or whatever. They don't want to do it, but...
kill stays in the top 10 ranking because there's a lot of kills we will cover today.
So it's going to be a total of 30.
T-Rex, Jurassic World Dominion.
18 out of 30.
In the same film, this
That's a
time
pause.
in the prologue, we are taken back in time to this
Just like all
alternate
my
universe,
grades.
where for some reason a non-paleo-accurate Giganotosaurus coexisted with T-Rex.
Man, the Giga looks so
now,
dope.
For those who for some
But man,
reason
they didn't
can't
do
handle
shit in the
people talking
movie.
about T-Rex getting wrecked, then, dude, get over it. In this
He just ate a
flashback,
dying
we witness
bug, man.
a clash of titans turned
Pissed me
into a
off.
squash match. Giganotosaurus being clearly bigger and noticeably
And
superior
Ian just chucked a
combat-wise
fire
right
stick in
off
its
the
mouth,
bat.
and that's it.
This
Like,
Giga
what?
sensed the ditch behind him, almost falling into it himself and gauging
Goofy
the depth
goober.
with his tail. Grabbing the T-Rex by the neck, it's likely that this creature did either one of 2 things. 1, the Carnosaur could have snapped the neck of T-Rex, making it
Like
yet
the
another time the
JP3
T-Rex
Spino.
suffered the same fate in the franchise. Or 2, perhaps a worse outcome would be leveraging the sharp-bladed teeth to cut into the
that would hurt
Rexy's
so
throat,
bad.
then letting him fall into the ditch to bleed out and
Oh, this was the
die.
prehistoric
It was
ones.
likely,
This is like
however, that it
the
could have been a
flashback kind of
combination
thing.
of the two.
Oh.
This Rex seemingly died very quickly, given that its eyes dilated. This usually happens when the brain ceases to function and the muscles that contract the iris, called the iris sphincter muscles, lose the ability to constrict.
My sphincter muscles are not working.
Rex
That's why I
falls
can't
and
see,
dies
guys.
After being shoved around, cut by blade-like teeth, and thrown into the ditch.
That's crazy.
This death gets a gore score of 6, pain of 7, and dino brutality score of 6, ranking it above the Oviraptor with 19 points.
Damn.
Bull T-Rex, Jurassic
A little bit
Park
higher.
3. Sorry, T-Rex fans, but here we have another instance where the Tyrant King
the
failed to
JP3,
defend their
this is what I
title.
literally brought up in the beginning.
Spinosaurus is
This,
an animal
man.
infamous for being an apex predator.
It's also the exact same as the previous
T-Rex
one.
hunter, attracted to the scent of a T-Rex instead of running away.
Attracted
The
to his
way that
piss.
Spino killed this T-Rex is an indicator that this fella got this down to a science. We
Yep.
all know what happens. Spinosaurus
Also, it's a
regains his
genetically
bearings after
enhanced
getting
monster,
bit and
so,
shoved by the
you know.
T-Rex, manages to get a very good hold with the straight peg-like teeth, excellent for gripping, along with fixing the body with his grappling arms, and twists the neck of the
Yeah.
T-Rex. This maneuver likely severed
Man.
the spinal cord near the cervical region, which is how this T-Rex was instantly rendered useless and would have died very quickly in a most brutal fashion. The sound effects team in this film did
What
an
the heck was
excellent
that?
job showcasing what brutal fashion. The sound effects
What is
team in
that?
this film did an excellent job.
Do you guys hear that
showcasing
like bat sound? What the shit is that?
brutal fashion. The sound effects team in this film did an
For what reason is that
excellent
added?
job showcasing what happened internally, and the amount of twist inflicted by
so
the
weird.
Spino's neck snap maneuver looked pretty gnarly. This kill's portrayal and sound
Man.
effect gets it a gore score of 8.
Oh, was that the sound
pain
effect
of
used when
4,
put a
and
mouse-
dino
put a mouse-
brutality
put
score
a
of
neck
8.
breaking?
This Spino's learned method of dispatching
Damn.
rival predators grants this T-Rex a higher ranking than the previous one discussed,
So,
with 20 points.
That battle should have been a little more drawn out, in my opinion, because it's two apex predators, right? And just show it to us. I mean, no, it's JP3. That was still, I don't even know when it was made, early 2000s or late 1990s. I can't remember. But like, come on, like, just show us the battle. It would have been so sick if it was drawn out a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Oh
Indoraptor,
man.
Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom.
Okay, sorry, I'm pausing in. This goofy bastard is such a cool thing. Such a cool design. I love the idea, but then again, like I've seen with like Riot, he brings it up as well a lot. It's just so stupid. It is, again, it attacks an instinct, whatever. But as soon as you point a laser, all thoughts gone. It focuses only on that. But the thing is, if you're pointing a laser that's on a gun, what's the point? You have a gun already. Shoot the guy. And then it just died like a fool. Like, it was smart enough to know the glass couldn't handle its weight, but then, oh no, let me point the laser. Oh, now it's stupid again. Now I can't. Now I'm just gonna go over the glass and fall like a goofy bastard. Oh my gosh, stupid movie.
Now that we ran
Stupid.
out of dead T-Rexes, we can move on
Idiots,
to
bro.
another, possibly
Man.
more brutal kill. This hybrid creature, created from the remnants of the Indominus
Man, it looks
Rex,
so
was
cool.
a little too intelligent to be allowed to roam about.
Yeah.
Given this dude gave
It's
us one of
very,
the worst human kills of the franchise.
what's the word I'm looking for?
But
Not maniacal.
It also got thrown off the roster pretty gruesomely.
was very, like,
when
evil,
confronting Owen
basically.
and Macy, the
Like, it
Indoraptor
really
was
enjoyed the
standing on a
hunt.
rather fragile structure. But right
Like,
before
right
he
there.
was going to pounce on his target, Blue appeared out of nowhere and threw the Indoraptor off balance.
Yeah, this hurt
wasn't
like a
going
bitch.
to
I don't
be
think
a
it would have
soft
died.
landing.
Actually, wait.
Underneath this was the skull of an Acuhoceratops, allegedly mixed with another genus, but the point here is that this would have been the demise
not
of
just
the
a trachea,
Indoraptor, who landed on
Acuhoceratops,
his
that's crazy.
side with one of the horns piercing the upper torso.
It would have been
This
either
likely
the-
pierced the heart, meaning
or
this
the lungs.
Indoraptor died within short moments of landing, causing excruciating pain for a few seconds. Call it karma or just
Would have still been alive for a little bit,
the
yeah.
way this killer raptor died was pretty
Damn.
messed up nonetheless. For gore and
The lungs would have also
spectacle,
been
this
punctured.
death gets a 9. For the amount of
Yeah.
suffering, this one gets an 8. And dino brutality of 5 for Blue pouncing on the Indoraptor despite being on an unstable platform. This raptor
True.
was smart as well and likely knew the repercussions of pouncing from this height. Pretty reckless from
Yeah.
Blue, but it nearly paid off. Just
Literally what I brought up, literally before that scene, just like a minute or two before that, it literally shows us, it puts its front foot, or paw, whatever you want to call it, on the glass. It saw that it couldn't have, like it's buckling under its weight, like it started cracking and whatnot. And then as soon as the laser was pointed, I was like, oh, screw that, I'm just going to go on the glass. Like, what?
as it nearly
man.
caused her own life. Indoraptor tops
It's not her
this
fault.
list for now
Stupid
with
people.
a score
Ah!
of 22. Delta, Jurassic World. The predecessor of the
Jurassic.
Indoraptor,
Oh,
the
yes. I was like,
Indominus
Dalton
Rex
Jurassic
was
World. What
likely
movie
just
is
as
that?
smart, but this one was bigger.
Oh
and
wait,
could
she got
inflict
chucked
some
into
pretty
like a
serious damage,
fire.
some of which was inflicted
Or something
on
that
one
exploded
of
into a
Owen's
fire.
raptors, Delta. Except this kill was topped with something even worse. After switching
She
alphas once
exploderated,
again,
combusted.
the remaining 3 raptors turned on the Indominus. Delta, however, got caught in the powerful jaws of the Indominus, likely piercing the abdomen, upper torso, and even the spine. After getting thrown violently, it was possible
Yeah,
that the raptor could
I
have died
can't- I
here
don't know
from
what
the
that is.
impact, but instead met with a fiery fate. Landing on what appears
No,
to be
they're
a
still moving.
propane-powered stovetop or something
okay,
of the
that's what
like,
it's-
this raptor endured his final moments being grilled alive for an unknown amount of
Bro,
time.
bro.
Any open wounds would have felt the burning sensation.
Oh my
Cooked
gosh.
From the inside
And any person, anybody, anything that suffers anything higher than a second-degree burn, oh my gosh, bro. The amount of suffering is insane, bro. There's something in my eye. Oh shit.
and out.
It's
Delta's
cute for me to
death gets
continue.
a gore score of 5, but a pain score of 9.
Bro,
Dino
bro,
brutality
I was
score
at
of
10.
7
Bro,
due to
burning
the
to death,
violent intention of the Indominus
sucks.
to
You're
throw
inhaling
and
all that,
shatter
like,
the lesser
smoke.
theropod. This kill ranks right below the Indoraptor's exit with a score of 21.
mean, blue was my
Ankylosaurus,
favorite, so,
Jurassic
yeah.
World. Ankylosaurus was one of the most
Oh.
heavily armored herbivores created
Again, it's just a
by
crap
InGen.
neck.
But even this did not
But
spare
it
them
got flipped
from the
over, so it was
terrible
turned
fate
into a
that
toy,
awaited them
a
at the
plaything.
hands
It
of
kind of,
Indominus Rex.
embarrassment
Once
factor,
again,
10
the
out of 10.
culprit of another kill on this list managed to not only kill, but figure out this living tank.
Yeah.
After realizing that the top part of this animal was practically impenetrable,
crazy how resistant the
Indom
skull
now
was.
begins attempts
Like,
at
it took a
flipping
blunt
over the
attack
Ankylosaurus.
to the face, and
Once
like,
successful, the poor herbivore is basically helpless. The heavy armor on its
Yeah.
back makes it
Big
almost
turtle,
impossible to
tortoise,
get back
whatever.
on its feet on time, leaving it helpless, handicapped, and at the mercy of the indomitable queen. The last thing this Ankylosaurus saw was the
Bro,
jaws
a
engulfing
first-person
its entire
POV
head
of the-
until
from the
the
dino's
lights
perspective
went
is
out.
crazy.
The kill maneuver, a neck
That is
snap.
horrifying.
We covered this already with the T-Rex, but at
that
least the bull had
sucks.
the chance to try and squeeze out of the Spino's grip. The Ankylosaurus didn't. Subdued
kind of
and
did.
helpless out of
Look
the
here.
Spino's grip.
I mean,
The
technically you can call it
Ankylosaurus did
because you can see it puts its like paws on its face trying to push it off, but it's like, look at that.
Subdued
You see it
and
going.
helpless, this Ankylosaurus suffered a pretty gruesome death. With
Bro,
a core
that first
score
person
of
perspective
7,
right there is
pain
just
of 8
horrifying.
Given the injuries it endured while slashed, and its killer rendering the Ankylosaurus helpless gives this death a dino brutality score of 8. At
Damn.
23 points, this ranks at the top only for now.
Damn, it's quite close actually.
Pteranodon, Jurassic World.
Ooh,
Pteranodons in the
punctured
franchise
all
have
over
been
the body.
portrayed as a species that is most dangerous in big numbers. Constantly seen as creatures that harass humans, often
Yeah,
in hordes.
true.
Every once in a while, one will fly close to where they shouldn't. Jurassic World being the best example of this. This unlucky
That
pteranodon
aunt.
and opportunist who
What was
saw
she
Sarah
called?
Young as a potential meal for later caught itself in a
She-
really
she
nasty
was
situation
played
when
with.
trying to exit the water. And the culprit Mosasaurus appeared from under the water to snap its jaws shut right on the pterosaur's torso.
Still alive
This
as
bite,
well, so-
seen here, didn't quite immediately kill the pteranodon.
It's
as
on
it
its
appears
neck
still
as well,
moving
shit.
As the Mosa crashed back into the water,
But it's got a thin-ass
suggesting
neck.
that apart from feeling teeth that are more than a foot in length crash into its chest cavity and wings, it would have had to
bro,
endure
it was
even more
bones
violent
crushed
crashing and bites as it
into
slid
dust.
down the throat of the Mosa. Not to mention that there was a very good chance the Mosa would have snapped its beak on the way down. This gruesome and spectacular kill gets
that
it a
lady just getting
score
flung
of
around
9
right
for
there.
gore, 10 for pain, given that it still would have had
I
to
agree.
endure
I
a lot
didn't agree.
more, and a dino brutality score of 6.
It would have been crazy if we saw one of its wings like fall off, you know? Because I mean, it would have broken the bone. I'm assuming it's like there's got a it looks like a bit of a bone going there, and then the little attachment. It would have just detached. Wouldn't it? I don't know.
Too high, since
Would have been
this
crazy
was
to see
really
that.
the only method the Mosa would have caught the pterosaur. Just being an
Damn, flap
opportunist,
fast, the
feeding on
nerd.
yet
That's
another
why he died.
opportunist. With a final
Like, we saw
score
one of its
25,
wings fall off.
This kill ranks in the top
Damn.
spots of this list.
I agree. I agree.
Indominus Rex, Jurassic World. Could be bad
Ooh.
luck, could be karma, whatever
That's
it
a
was,
lot of
it's
gore,
clear that the end
for
of
real.
The
So the
Indominus
gore
Rex
is gonna
was
be high.
prolonged, painful, and messy.
Yeah.
During the last act of the movie, the Indominus Rex had already been shot
In the
and
Lego
messy.
Jurassic
During
World
the
game,
last-
this is literally the final boss. This POV right here is what it is. But I think the gore factor for this is going to be the highest, potentially from all. But I could be wrong, because I mean, you see it's cuts all over the place. You don't see guts or anything falling on the floor, but cuts everywhere, blood.
Act
It's
of
crazy.
The movie, the Indominus Rex had already been shot at, bitten, scarred by raptors,
did it
repeatedly
really
slammed and
penetrate?
stabbed at by debris, However, this still had not killed the Indom, and evidently it was going to take something special. The Mosasaurus once again appears on this list of
I think it
killers
drowned.
and is the only one who could
Unless the
have taken
Mosa
care
like
of the
finished it off in their
Indom
water,
this
but
fast. Or so we think. After getting tons of teeth and
oh, it
jaws
grabbed on the
slammed
neck.
her
I forgot.
and upper torso,
Damn.
the Indominus gets violently dragged underwater.
That's
where
some
we are
whiplash
left
right
off
there.
at. However, after further observation and discernment, we are left with the assumption that this right here was not where the Indominus died. She was still alive when dragged underwater, meaning that the Mosa either thrashed the Indominus around underwater
crocodile.
or shook any air out of her, leaving this animal to drown.
Yeah,
In the following
drowning is
film, we saw
horrible.
what remained of the skeleton of the
It
Indom,
is so
meaning
horrible.
that the Mosa did not consume, at least not the whole carcass of the hybrid. The head and upper body seemingly left
Damn.
intact to die from the wounds as it landed on the lagoon floor. We've covered the death of the Indom in detail in a
Man, that
previous
is a
video,
horrific death.
but for the rankings,
Ow.
we are giving this a
Oh.
gore score of 8. Would have
Makes
been
sense.
higher if we actually saw what happened, but piecing 2 and 2 together, it's clear that what happened underwater was not a clean kill.
So I'm assuming
leaving
they've taken the gore scale from only when the Mosa took it, not beforehand. Unless they did take it into account. I don't know. Because I mean, it's what? It's got it's like a piece of rebar in it and stuff. Gore maybe could have been a 10, maybe.
Score to a 9 and Dino
Makes
brutality
100%
score of
sense, yes.
7. Indominus gets a high
Well,
rank in this list with 24
Drowning to death and
points.
burning to death is
Velociraptor,
horrible.
Jurassic
It's the worst
World
ways to go.
Rebirth.
So far.
Velociraptors made a successful debut back in 1993 while establishing themselves as the fearful and super intelligent creatures in the first film
I do not
and
remember.
literally throughout the rest
They
of
died?
the franchise.
Bro,
other
I
than
watched
in
the movie
Rebirth,
so long
where
ago.
They were underutilized and basically used as fodder. Quick honorable mention to other raptors that perished quite gruesomely. Charlie getting blown up right during a point of redemption, that being after betraying Owen
that
and
is-
turning against the humans.
Yeah,
The raptor
again.
pair, more notably the big one from Jurassic Park,
yes,
getting
the
munched into,
T-Rex.
going limp, and then violently
Also, a little fun fact. I've said this in a video before long ago, but if you like go frame by frame somewhere in this scene where the T-Rex is flinging around, you can, if you just go frame by frame, there's a little spot where the Velociraptor is invisible. Like it just glitch, like flips out, comes back in.
thrown into a
Funny.
skeleton that would have also shattered her own skeleton. The other raptor from
True.
Sorna killed by a gymnast who didn't make the cut for her school
Oh, yeah,
gymnastics
like,
team,
what? This is dumb.
skewered and possibly
cool,
left
but
to
dumb.
die a slow,
A little
agonizing
kid.
death or cannibalized by other fellow raptors. And Echo,
You would think a kid's leg wouldn't be strong enough to kick it. It would have broke. Yes, the kid's leg would have been broken.
so
Or
munched
both
in a
actually,
similar
because she used
fashion
both
as
of
the
feet.
big one. This one in Rebirth
And she
suffered
wouldn't
a
have
gory
kept
assault
spinning it after
from
kicking it. She
above,
would have stopped.
ambushed and caught by surprise,
But whatever.
and ditched
Well,
by
I
her
don't-
partner. This raptor was repeatedly gored, packed, slashed, and pummeled on the floor.
Yeah, I
As
remember
a
that.
finisher, the Mutadon violently
That guy
ripped
got
the
so lucky,
raptor's
by the way.
throat,
Just he's
leaving its
pressing
limp
there, but he's
body
like,
to bleed
didn't
to
care
death
about it.
as was
Oh,
carried away to
gross.
be further consumed. If it
That
wasn't
thing
for
is
this
so strong.
intervention, the raptor would have sent Xavier to our top 10 human kills list. Because of this
Hmm.
gnarly portrayal and hard pummeling, the kill in question gets a gore score of 8, pain of 10, and dino brutality score of 8. Yeah,
Damn,
we saw
that's
this
a
thing get
high
wrecked
one.
from start to finish on screen, so this score
26.
of 26 places it at the top. We're getting close
Crazy.
to finalizing this list, but we do have a few that didn't quite make the top list, but are worth bringing up. Going back to
Okay.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, one of the
Aw.
sad but horrifying deaths was
The
that of this
Brachiosaurus.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
really the entire surviving
Bro,
lot
I
of
almost started
dinosaurs left
crying
on
after
Nublar.
that scene,
R.I.P.
man.
Baryonyx, who was probably
Yeah.
left to
Aw.
cook here.
That
But
boss
this
got lava on his head.
Brachiosaurus left to
Bro,
asphyxiate
that-
in toxic fumes and burned to death from inside
And they
out
gave us
by
the
breathing
classic.
and being
Oh
exposed to hot
man,
ash.
right now it's making me
Not
sad.
Fun. Sounds bad, but a reason why they didn't make the main list was because today we are focusing on animal violence. Let's not forget this incident during Nublar's volcanic
Oh, it's a
disaster.
Carnotaurus.
A subduing bite from Rexy inflicted on the
I
Carno,
remember that
followed
shit.
by
Bro,
a
put
stomp
down.
on the neck. Now, admittedly, it's not 100% clear whether or not Rexy killed this Carno, but it likely perished after such a wound, or getting caught by the incoming
Most likely.
burning ash. Now we'll return to
Yeah.
our main list and see if any kills manage to rank even higher. The Apatosaurus
Ooh.
herd, Jurassic World. One
We
thing
didn't
that
see anything of
repeatedly
like what went
emphasize
down.
on
We
the
just saw
channel
them
is
one
that
alive.
sauropods in this franchise are honestly severely nerfed. No other instance in
True.
the franchise
They're a lot
proves this
smaller.
more than this scene in Jurassic World. As Owen and Claire look for Zack and Gray, they stumble across a gnarly crime scene. The scarring and bloody wounds
Yeah.
made it clear that it was
No, you had blood
Indominus
everywhere.
Rex who
No
managed
gore.
to bring
Well, I
down
mean,
these
guts.
sauropods. But it wasn't just one, it was a whole herd. This
It's actually
massacre likely
crazy
took
how
place
strong the
extremely
Indoraptor,
quickly, given that
Indominus Rex
these
was.
Apatosaurus are still in close proximity to each other and not scattered over a wide range.
That is actually true. I didn't actually think about that, how close they are to each other. So the Indominus Rex, right, would have killed them so quickly. Like, almost in the fact that some of them wouldn't have even noticed someone like dead or injured or lying down or something. Because the fact that none of them started running, or maybe they did, they just went fast enough. I don't know. It's crazy. I didn't even know, like, put two and two together how close they would
The
get.
pools of faint but visible blood, disturbed landscape means that this Indominus violently mutilated these animals, knocked them down, and left them to die in agony.
Oh, what the heck?
What brings this kill to the top
Is this
ranks
from
of
the
the
Jurassic
list is
World
the
game?
fact that this wasn't just
Revolution,
a kill,
Jurassic
it was
World
a
Evolution or something.
cold-blooded massacre. Painful and completely unnecessary.
Damn.
Because the Indominus
Oh,
didn't
that's
even
deep
take a
cut.
bite out of any of them to eat. This gives it a score of 9
For fun,
gore,
yeah.
pain of 8, and dino brutality of 10 for killing for sport.
Oh, 27.
At 27 points, these kills take a top spot in our ranking. There is, however, one kill from the long past that might still surpass what we have seen so far. Gallimimus, Jurassic Park. It may have been a while since we've seen this kill on screen, but it's one of the only kills in the franchise
now
that
I'm remembering.
portrays how messy a T-Rex bite could be. As Dr. Alan Grant and the accompanying children try to make their way back to safety, they get caught up in a Gallimimus stampede that ends up being interrupted by the ambushing T-Rex. Yeah, the cries of despair
Nom, nom, nom.
of poor Gallimimus as he gets the wind crushed out of his lungs is only the beginning. It's worth noting that T-Rex does have enough biting force to bite this lesser animal and turn it into a pulp. More messy,
True.
but instead
Tomato
here
paste.
the T-Rex takes a smaller bite from the Gallimimus, seemingly ripping the upper back, practically filleting the already dead dinosaur. It would
now
be
there's
some
gore.
time before we saw this much dino-on-dino violence on screen. That is, seeing flesh getting ripped off another dinosaur. Tim's comment reveals that this got even more bloody. This underrated kill
Stupid
makes
child
its way to the
exposing
top
yourself.
ranks of our list with a gore score of 10, pain score of 9, and dino brutality score of 9 as well. Ripping the
28.
back off a dinosaur is nasty business. You may have noticed that
It
in
probably
today's
was
episode,
dead
we
before that,
already
maybe.
have 11 dino kills on our list, with Oviraptor getting bumped out of our top 10, with the T-Rex death
Okay.
at the risk of getting bumped out as well. But will it? Up next is Giganotosaurus, Jurassic World Dominion.
Okay,
Both in the
this is
literal
what I'm talking
sense
about.
and circumstantial.
Okay, I'm pausing again. This guy, you say it made out to be like the biggest predator or the biggest whatever. He ate the bug that was on fire and already dead. Ian chucked the friggin' fire rake in its mouth, and then it got 2 times by a Therizinosaurus and a T-Rex. No? Was it a T-Rex? I think it was a T-Rex. It just got 2 times. It got stabbed.
Joel, this was one that was pretty messed up, especially since the alleged villain behaved nothing like one. And in the movie, the Giganotosaurus was doing nothing but just acting like a real animal.
the director did such a bad
motivated
job
its interest in the human cast,
with this
portrayed as
dinosaur.
a normal predator that defended its territory, and
couldn't kill
brain-zapped
any of
into
the cast
entering an
right
arena
there.
with 2 other
None of them.
dangerous theropods armed with claws and plot armor. After subduing the T-Rex in an epic brawl, the Giganotosaurus now faced the blind Therizinosaurus, an animal with
Wasn't the
especially
Therizinosaurus only blind in
dangerous
one
claws
eye?
capable of one-shotting an equally menacing rival
But
if
the
struck
Therizino
on the
is
right
so
spot.
cool.
After Rexy recovered, the movie made the implication that despite being physically inferior to the Giga, Rexy still had a lot of smarts left in her. Leveraging the pointy object on the opposite side of the ring,
Those are
the
some
T-Rex
crazy
pushes the
claws.
Giga right into those claws at the right moment, forcing the claws through the upper neck and torso of the Giga. This
It's
injury,
crazy,
apart
you know.
from being a piercing wound, was also a spinal
Straight
injury,
through the arteries,
likely
but no
piercing the
lungs or
spinal
heart.
cord, as well as possibly wedging between the vertebrae, hitting the nerves and making the Giga's final seconds excruciatingly painful. This
Those are
wound
some
is
hard throws as well to go through bone.
unsurvivable,
Damn.
And if we pretend it was, then the Carnosaur would have been paralyzed for life. The Theory drops the Giga, and we can see in gruesome detail how the flesh and skin grips against the exiting claws. This kill will score a 10 for
Wait, what?
gore. Skin grips against the
Oh, yeah, look at
exiting
that.
claws.
Like a
This
little
kill
sticky.
will score a 10 for gore,
Yes.
9 for pain since it also had to endure prior wounds, and feel thick claws wedged
It's gonna be a
against
10 for
its spine
brutality.
with a dino brutality score of 10.
Damn,
That
29.
being for T-Rex using another dinosaur to inflict a painful and gory
Bro,
death.
tag team.
Rexy's fatal maneuver on the Giga now bumps out the Giga's T-Rex kill from the bottom of the list, giving us our final 10 most gruesome kills. This was just Goji Center's take on Jurassic's Dino Carnage. Very likely different from your take. So now it's
I
your
agree.
turn. Tell us in the comments which kill you think was the worst. Subscribe and get ready to bear witness to more
You heard him.
Carnage coming
It's-
very soon.
Okay, I definitely agree with this ranking. I just want to get to the... Yeah. Okay. I definitely agree with this. Where is the Interrupter? Man, I'm just so disappointed with how they wrote some of these, creatures. Dinosaurs. Why did I say creatures? I don't know. But I definitely agree with the ranking, with how they put it together. The Gallimimus, I honestly completely forgot about. Damn. I didn't even notice that it's got, it had meat ripped off his back. It was actually brutal as shit. But anyways, if you guys would have ranked anything differently, do let me know down in the comments, and make sure to go check out Goji Center and subscribe there. Subscribe here by me if you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.